Yo, what is up, everybody? Popo here bringing guys a new video, and today I just want to go over this little portion of one of the matches Wolfe had to just kind of talk about why he is the GOAT. I mean, it's undisputable at this point. He has every kind of title. He's the first person to win North American International and European International. Like it's crazy the run that this man is on. In the last couple of years, he's won like 5 regionals, like an international. He's top cut worlds. Like the man is on another level. It's insane. And he's playing Parish Trap. Like, how did he not get mentally fatigued from playing this game? I have no idea. Respect to him. But I wanted to go over this little portion of this game just to show what Wolfe is doing, like the little nuanced things that Wolfe is doing that you could do too to help you improve in the game. Even if it's only a little bit, it will help you overall. And it's important to do these things, and you will see clear-cut like improvements in your thinking and your understanding of the game. So we're going to go over that a little bit. This is going to take off in game 1 against Luca, where Wolfe is setting up his Parish Trap on the first 2 Pokemon here. It's kind of Parish Trap. He doesn't actually click the Parish song here, but he kind of gets it going, sets it up, and he's able to trap both of these Pokemon in. And we're just going to talk about the sequence, because this sequence is absolutely insane. So the Incineroar just got knocked out via the Electro Drift, which now is threatening Scream Tail. Caly-I wants to switch out so that way he can get Gothitelle in and stop Luca from being able to switch Pokemon. Luca does have Tailwind up, so a lot of offensive pressure coming out from Miraidon. So Wolfe has to be very, very careful. So navigating this situation is very tough. And honestly, right at the get-go here, it looked like Wolfe just lost on turn 1. And that was very, very scary. But Wolfe remained composed. And that's something you can work on too. Just remaining composed and just understanding your play. So you can see here, Wolfe is just taking his time. He knows he wants to get Gothitelle in, but he's trying to calculate whether it makes sense to get it in, if maybe Miraidon's going to predict, or Luca's going to predict with Miraidon, go Electro Drift into Caly-I, and maybe Moonblast into that slot too, to confirm a knockout onto the Gothitelle. So it's a very risky play because Caly-I did just protect. It's also possible that Encore comes out into Caly-I, and Encore can come out into Scream Tail as well, because you can only fake out one, and one of them can't be Whimsicott because Whimsicott does have the Covert Cloak. So there's a lot of moving pieces going on in the game right now, and a lot of things for Wolfe to think about. So he's really taking his time. He knows what he wants to do, but he's just making sure these are the best plays that can be made in this current moment. And we do see Wolfe go out to the Gothitelle, and we do see the Scream Tail go for the Protect, which is a great play if Luca doesn't call it, and we see Encore going into the Gothitelle slot, which is going to be super, super helpful for Wolfe here, because that means Electro Drift is not going to go into Gothitelle. So now Wolfe has a potential lock on the field. And what makes this play very interesting, you can see Wolfe is already zooming. He's already zooming, but he does something interesting here. He slows down. He just takes a second to make sure that this is the play that needs to be made. He does have that Dark Terra on the Scream Tail, which is going to help him avoid that Encore. Of course, Luca knows this, open team sheets, but it depends on what's going to happen here. If we do see an Encore, then it's going to be very, very good for Wolfe. If it goes for a Moonblast and gets a crit, it could be very, very bad for Wolfe. So he's just really thinking over, making sure this is the play he wants to make. He does want to disable the Electro Drift so that way Miraidon starts struggling. So there's a couple of things here, but it's a pretty obvious place for Wolfe. So he plays a little bit faster than he normally would, but you saw he already clicked in the stuff because that's what he wanted to do, but he slowed it down and just took a breath and just made sure that he was targeting correctly, making sure everything was good. So that's something you can do in your games. Just make sure everything is good. And now you can see here, Wolfe is actually writing stuff down. This is something you should be doing too. You'll see a lot of the older VGC players who've been playing for a long time writing things down constantly. Not all of them, but some of the newer players, you might not see them writing as much, or you might not see them writing at all. There's some players who just don't take notes. I'm a player who doesn't take notes. It distracts me from the game personally, but if you are newer to the game, definitely start taking notes. It could be super, super important. if you're writing down speed tiers, it's something that you don't have to remember. So if you're seeing these speed tiers in game one, instead of going back and be like, oh man, who was faster in game one? Was it me? Was it my opponent? Instead, you could just look at a piece of paper and go, okay, so here's the speed tiers. I know exactly what's happening. You could also do this for damage calc. So if you're like, oh, I took, 35 damage in game one, I have 38 life. Maybe it's a roll, maybe it's not. The first one I took 35, the second time I took 32, so maybe it's not a roll, so I should always survive this attack, or I have a very, very good chance to survive this attack. So you can keep damage calcs like that on your notes as well. You cannot use your notes from previous games, so if you face somebody who's using almost the exact same team as your opponent is now, you can't look back on those notes and kind of go, okay, these were the damage calcs or speed tiers. You can before the game if you already know that. If you see your pairings, you can take a look at your note before you go sit down at your match. So keep that in mind too. So make sure that you're just min-maxing that information. But yeah, write things down. Just keep notes. And you don't have to do this at like official tournaments or anything like that. You can do this when you're playing on ladder, just so you can start getting used to doing it. And if you do some practice games against your friends or you're on Showdown Best of 3, you can also just be taking notes just to get used to it. Just get your mind in that set where you're like, I'm taking notes, I'm going to take notes. This is going to help me, right? Just start getting that mindset. Make it a habit instead of making it something that you're forcing yourself to do. And that's what Wolfe is. Like, he has that habit because he developed it back in the day. There was no open team sheet, so you had to write down your whole opponent's team. You had to write down what attacks they were using. Like, you had to do these things or else you were done. But we do see that terrestrialization. We do see the fake out on Miraidon. So this is going to be essentially a free disable onto Miraidon here. We do see the Moonblast, so good call by Luca, but it's just not enough. We could see that it's basically a 4-hit, maybe a 3-hit. It's like right in between there. So, yeah, this is a pretty good spot for Wolfe. He can kind of control the field, and you'll start to see him. He's writing things down. This is game one, so he wants to get as much information as he can. If he wins game one, great. If he doesn't win game one, at least he has all the information he can have. So here he just kind of is just thinking through his plays. What's the most reasonable play my opponent's going to go for? Are they going to go for, the encore into my fake out to try to get me to switch? Are they going to go for, Moonblast again to try to get the knockout on the Scream Tail so that way I can't perish later on? And it kind of goes for that one, right? He's going for that. So now we see that it is a 3-hit. And yeah, Miraidon has no more moves. So it's going to start to struggle. And these struggles can add up, especially if there's a crit or something like that. But luckily, these are both special attackers, so it's not going to do that much. And they take 25% of their health in return. So without having to perish, Wolfe has set up a, unwinnable, 2 Pokemon from Luca without having to risk his own 2 Pokemon, which is a really interesting dynamic and something that doesn't often happen. And now Wolfe can't switch out because his Caly-I will go down, but he does go for a Taunt and he does go for Encore. I thought Taunt plus Disable would have been better, so I'm not really sure, but Wolfe knows what he's doing more than I do. So take that as you will. Gothitelle will constantly be healing, so it doesn't have to worry about ever getting knocked out. And yeah, he's just trying to get rid of the Tailwind. I understand that, but I feel like Taunt and Disable would have just put you a turn forward. Maybe he's trying to stagger it for something. I don't really know. I know he wants them to both to get knocked out on the same turn, so that's super important to him. But yeah, now he gets the Disable off, and you could just see he's writing more things down. He's just trying to understand the game, make sure that everything is going right. We see the struggle. It's going to go into Scream Tail. And yeah, he's just kind of in control of the game now. So just these small little things that he's doing where he's slowing it down, he's taking notes, he's just focusing on the game rather than just like these other things that are going on. He's just very, very focused into what his game plan is. And he's already thinking about, like, he's got the lock here. He knows these Pokemon are going to go down here. He wants to preserve his PP just in case. He's going to play out for, some slower turns to make sure that he can win in that end game. And he just He's just going, you know, he already has it set, so he's just using his moves that have the most PP that aren't going to end up being used, rather than going from some other stuff. Also, he doesn't want to do any more damage because he wants them, like I said, to both be knocked out on the same turn, and that's going to be the turn after this one. And anytime Gothitelle gets hit, like, Wolfe is perfectly okay. He's also not going for protects, particularly, so that way those struggles can do damage, because if they struggle and they attack into the protect, they don't take any damage. So he wants to make sure that those struggles are going into a target, because he knows that it cannot knock out. Now he can easily switch into Caly-I, and that puts him in a very, very good position, because now he'll have the sun back up. He has a strong attacker out on the field, and he has a full health Gothitelle in the back, in which he can just go for fake outs and protects to win with the Perish Trap, right? That's another thing he does when he's playing, is he stays hydrated, and this is very, very important, especially if you're playing a team like Wolfe is playing. You're using a lot of brain power, therefore you're burning a lot of water, and you want to make sure you're staying hydrated and you're giving your brain enough energy to be able to function for all these games, all these rounds, everything. You just want to make sure you're staying hydrated, and you'll see Wolfe in his games, more than anybody else, he's constantly drinking water. In between his turns, he'll sit there, let the timer start running down, and he'll be drinking water, just thinking about what his turns are going to look like from then on. And that's exactly kind of what he's doing. And it's just masterful play. Like, his play on all the stream matches were masterful. Dill played extremely well. What a unique team, too, Dill had. Especially with that roar. I thought that roar would just give Wolfe just such a hard time. And it kind of did. It made him have to make some different plays. But, like, man, what a unique team. What an interesting team. Because normally in these Miraidon matchups, Wolfe wants to go for the Perish Trap, but because of Roar, you can't go for the Perish Trap, which is, like I said, just a really cool interaction between things here. But yeah, so Wolfe gets the double knockout, and that's kind of the end of the trap right there, and that's the end of game one. Like, there's nothing Luca can do, because Wolfe can just go for the Perish Trap or the Perish Song, and it's just over. If you have 3 Pokemon, your opponent has 2, and you go for Perish, you've already won the game, unless something crazy happens. Like, there's nothing your opponent can do. It's crazy. It's crazy how good this dude is at this game. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, we see the Ogerpon and we see the Iron Hands, which is a good 2 to have here, but it just doesn't do anything. He can only fake out 1, but Wolfe has double protect. He's not really in danger. Screamtail's always going to be faster. Caly-I's always going to be faster. Caly-I is always one-shotting either of these Pokemon. But you can see, even though Wolfe has this game locked up, essentially, he's just still playing it slow. He's just making sure he's making the right decisions. He's trying to understand the matchup. He wants to see what the opponent's willing to go for so he can take some notes on it. He just really wants to get the information from his opponent. So this is really smart play. Who's he going to fake out? Is he even going to fake out? And we see that he doesn't actually go for the fake out. He tries to go for the knockout and the Caly-I, so that way he can win through Perish. So yeah, it's just a really interesting situation. Actually, he splits his damage, which if he just went for Perish right there, he would have just straight up won. But he didn't need to. He didn't need to. So now he can go for Perish, and he can go for the knockout onto the Ogerpon, and there's really nothing Luca can do here. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I just want to show the understanding that Wolfe has into like everything. He's just so much beyond everybody, basically. This is why he wins so much. But there's little things you can do to improve your game. Start trying to do them, like especially the taking notes, just taking your time. Once again, that's something I'm working on. There's often times where I'm like, oh yeah, this is the best play, and I'm like, oh, maybe it wasn't. So that's definitely something I'm working on. Pick a goal and just start working on it for yourself, even if that's like, okay, I'm just gonna take notes throughout this game. I don't care if I win, I don't care if I lose. I'm just gonna take notes and get some information, and I'm just going to do this for the next 10 games. And I'm going to make this a habit of mine. I'm going to play best of 3 showdown. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to look at the open team sheet, and I'm going to take notes. I'm not going to look at the damage calcs on the side. I'm not going to look at anything. If I have any added stuff, I'm not going to look at any of that. I'm just going to take notes on everything.
and just get into this mindset. Just start developing these habits, and you will improve at the game. Just little things. There's obviously other things Wolfe is amazing at: team building, understanding the meta, like developing like EVs, like just all this kind of stuff. Just his understanding of the game that kind of can't be taught. It comes with experience, or it comes with just be a Wolfe click, I guess. You just sometimes have things, and you don't have things, but there's little things you can do to improve on yourself and just become a better player. But yeah, anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you guys do so, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.